All right. This is just the continuation of where we stopped in the class. Remember, we were discussing NACL, which is another security layer that we can attach at the subnet level. Security group is attached at the instance level, but to add further security, we need to make use of our NACL. And you can see that we have attached our NACL, and as a result, we are unable to access the application again. All right. Now, we now need to add rule so that the application can be feasible. All right, at the subnet level. Okay, so what we'll do now is go back to our NACL, of course, which is this. Okay, so let me go back. So this is our NACL. So go to action, edit inbound rule first. So add new rule, 100. SSH. Then we need our IP. So let's go to this site. This site is IP address, public IP address. Let's generate one. Okay. So it has given me one. Let me copy this. Let me copy this. Okay. So I'm going to use that as my public. Okay. Then /32 allowed. Saved. Then go back again. Let's set for our outbound. Add rule 100. SSH. For 22. The IP address again. 102.89. Okay, let me just paste it. All right. /32. So save. All right. Now let's open to anybody. So edit. So add rule. Add 200. HTTP, so that they can access our web server port 80 from anywhere. Save. Let's do for our outbound as well. Add rule 200. HTTP to our web server. Allowed. Save. So with this, let's see whether we can. Of course, we've done that. So okay, so this is where we've done this. Enter the rule number. We have done that. Then we've done this. Then we've set these changes. All right. So let's check again whether we can still. Yes, we're still unable to access these sites because because we need to make use of what is called ephemeral port. Ephemeral port is a port which allows temporary communication for our internet protocol. So that has to be used whenever you are using NACL. All right. So the total number of ports are 0 to 65,535 in the networking, but NAT gateway uses port this. So we're going to use these ports for the ephemeral port. So let's copy this. So go back to our and add rule, edit inbound, add this IP and give it 300. Okay. Our SSH. So then give the IP range. Custom. Sorry, custom. Let me add rule. Custom TCP. Custom TCP. Let me remove this. Custom TCP. Then the port range. Paste the port range. Then from anywhere, all right. So from anywhere, okay. So let's save this. The IP range, okay, maybe because of my dots, okay. Save this. Use the same thing to the outbound. Hard rule, can make it 300. Okay, you can make it 300. Custom IP, then the IP range, you can paste there. All right, allow, save. So with this, let's see whether you can, of course, access our application again. Oh, fine. So this is it. And this is how to make use of our NACL. So you can see that with that, you can access our web server. So for instance, let us assume that in the public subnet, we have about 100 web server and all are connected to load balancer. The hacker may block any HTTP port on one web server. So there is no problem for us because all other servers are still working. The load balancer will send requests to other servers. However, if the hacker block any ports on our NACL level, the entire website will be down. So what do? Let me come again. Of course, if you have EC2 100 machine at the public subnet and all of them, our web server runs on them, okay, because of the load balancer. If the hacker block the ports on one web server, of course, other web server will still be working fine. But if the hacker block our HTTP port, which our server runs on at the subnet level, what happened? The entire website is down. Now, to avoid this problem, AWS is providing a range of that port So we need to open this range in NACL level. So when hacker block a particular port, AWS will use a random port for the range, and it will replace the HTTP port, so the web server or the website will never go down. And that is the essence of ephemeral port, and it is mandatory. It is mandatory, so at least you can guarantee your web server 24 hours up and running. All right, so that is it. Now, all along, we've been talking about rule. Now, let's talk about port now. Okay, so let's talk about ephemeral ports particularly now. You're talking about rule. You're not talking about number now. So let's talk about number. All right, so let's enable the inbound rule, and let's enter the rule number 300, which we have done. Now, this all we have done, and it works successfully. We have been talking about allowed. What about the principle of denying rules? If you look at it now, you will see that everything here is allowed. What about denial? Because we said NACL works with both allow and denial, unlike security group that works with only the inbound rule and is allowed. So we can use our NACL with regards to denial aside rule allowed. So denial rules can also work here. So how do we do that? All right. So we want to set to deny. So now let's change the rule number to 201. So let's enter rule number 201. For instance, now for the inbound rule, let's enter, go to action, edit inbound rule. Let's add another rule, which is 201. Talking about number now. All right. So let's have a look at this, and let's click on deny, save changes. Do the same thing, outbound. All right. Add rule 201. Let's deny, save. All right. 201. Okay, I've done that before. Okay, so I've done for outbound before, so I should do for inbound. So let me save this one again, because I've done that. So go to action, edit inbound. Okay, that's the inbound. Okay, for outbound now. Outbound. Okay, so let's set denial rule, add rule 201. Then here, click on deny, save. Now let's check whether we can still access our, yes, despite denial, we can still access this. So what do we do? Now this is where this particular note must be adhered to. And that note says that, let me go back and explain this. I have explanation somewhere here. Okay, let me go up. I want to explain something. It's very essential I explain that. Coming. Okay, see, now let's change that rule because the higher number take precedence. I want to see where I mentioned that in my explanation. This is it. Now, the highest number rule, take note, can be this. No, this is it. A network ACL contains numbers lists of rules that are evaluated in order, starting from the lowest number rule to determine whether the traffic goes in or not. So, in other words, why this thing is still feasible is that, look at this. We need to use the lower number rule. So, in this case, let me go back, edit inbound rule. Despite the fact that we deny, it's still going. So, change this because the 200 will always take the so change this to 199. Change this to SSH. HTTP. Deny. So save. Let's go out to our edit outbound. Change this to 199. See web server. That's the port. Deny. Now let's save this. And let me refresh whether I can still access the site again. Let me copy it. Let me repaste. All right. Okay. So you use the lower one. So then we have our IP address here. It's 199. Paste this /32. So deny for the inbound rule, save. Okay, let's do for the outbound rule. Edit outbound. Okay, 199 HTTP ports. So our IP address /32. So deny. So save. So let me refresh again. And you can see that I cannot access that again. Let me explain again for this concept. If you are trying to make use of the number now to control inbound and outbound, ensure that if you use 200, then use the lower number to deny. So the lower number take the precedence, and this is what this explanation is talking about. So the lower number take the precedence, not the higher number. All right. So that is why we're able to use rules, and we're able to use what is called the denial rules now. So when we enter number 201, we discover that yes, we can still access the site. So, but we can deny that particular public IP address that we generated by ourselves, even though if the hacker sees it, we can still deny. You can see that because the public address can be seen by the hacker. Even despite that, we can deny that so that you can generate another IP address. All right. So NAT's network ACL, once again, is used at subnet level as against the security group at instance level. It gives further security to our application. So we can make use of one, rule number, and of course, for the AWS, you have to always make use of your ephemeral ports such that if you have 100 instances and one of them is hacked, the remaining 99 of them can still be working. However, if at the subnet level, we do not make use of this range, then it means if the port 80 is blocked, then the entire application will not be feasible. It will not work. So, but AWS has done something that even if they have done that, it can quickly provision another port within this range and the application will continue to work. So here we have explained how to use the NACL to control in and out bound traffic. And also we also explain the concept of denial. So you can use deny for that particular public IP. So with that, we've come to the end of this training. So all you need to do now is let's quickly look at the summary of the difference between security group and network access control list. Number one, security group operates at the instance level, while NACL operates at subnet level. Number two, security group is the first layer of defense. Of course, as you are setting up your instance, you are setting up your security group. Whereas network access control list is second layer of defense. Number three, security group supports allows rules only, while network access control list support allow rules and deny rules. Security group is stateful, that is, return traffic is automatically allowed regardless of any rule. NACL is stateless, meaning that return traffic must be explicitly allowed by rule, that is, think of ephemeral ports. So it has ephemeral ports. Security group, all rules are evaluated before deciding whether to allow traffic. Whereas in NACL, rules are evaluated in order, lowest to highest. So when decided whether to allow traffic, first match wins, which I have explained with regards to 200 or 201 to 199. All right. Security group is applied to an instance only when you specify a security group. While launching an instance, we have explained that NACL has automatically applied to all instances in this subnet it is associated with. Thank you very much. So don't forget that after the whole process, delete the NATs, delete all EC2 machine, delete the VPC, then release the elastic IP, which of course you need to do. All right. Thank you very much.